What's up, guys? I'm Emerald Marie, and be sure to check us out on the web at realfansrealtalk.com.
This is your African King of Comedy, Michael Blackson. You watching Real Fans, Real Talk. Get real with it, my son.
Live from the can. Vibe the king.
This is Real Fans, Real Talk. Real fans, real talk. We as real as you thought.
They did it. They took him. Isaiah Simmons goes to the Cardinals.
It's a good pick.
Yeah,
That's a good pick.
they got their offense. And again, I think it's they get it. What you just mentioned earlier, Eric. They get it. You got to go for the big playmaker as opposed to keep throwing guys out there. You got one of the best mobile quarterbacks, in football in Kyler Murray, who's young. You got your wide receivers out there that can bail them out. They got a good running back. So they decided to go for the biggest playmaker on the defensive end who can play multiple positions, and Isaiah Simmons. Congrats to them. I wish the Giants would have got him, but,
Listen,
whatever.
the Cardinals are doing it the right way. I believe Chandler Jones led the NFC. I don't want to say the NFL, but at least the NFC in sacks last year. He had about 19 sacks. And now you add a guy on the other side of that who can get to the quarterback as well and do a lot of different things. It's a good pick for them. It's a great value pick at number 8. There's a guy who's projected to go in the top 5.
Yeah. Oh man, I still wish he would have came.
They're showing the graphic up there now. He's had at least 10 snaps at 5 different positions.
Yeah, and he's fast enough to play corner, and he's strong enough to play linebacker. Oh my goodness.
Safety, inside linebacker, outside linebacker, slot corner, cornerback.
To use them, move them around the whole defensive line.
Yeah,
that's
you
what
can
I'm
put him
saying.
anywhere on the field, and he's effective. He can get to the quarterback like it's nobody's business. He can step back. He can play the tight ends. Like he can just do so much. I really wish the Giants would have drafted him with that 4th pick as opposed to going with the offensive tackle. But you know what? If the Giants go through a season and we get Saquon back to 2,000 yards and Daniel Jones is protected, I'll be okay with it. But I'm still gonna want Simmons just because I just feel like he's one of those guys that can be an all-time great when it's said and done. He has that type of potential.
Yeah, I'm shocked. This is probably like my 8th draft where I've wondered why the Giants haven't drafted defense with their first pick. You guys continue to ignore that side of the ball. I don't remember the last time you guys even drafted a linebacker, to be honest. And listen, I'm not saying that the old lineman Thomas that you selected is going to be a bum. He may be a 10-year veteran and quality starter from day one. But you got to get playmakers on the other side of the ball too, man. And it's going to be interesting to see what the Giants do with the rest of their draft because at some point you got to address that. You can't keep adding guys that were on other teams that already got enough wear and tear on them. You got to start getting your own homegrown guys that you could develop and build a defense around.
Yeah, and it's like they continue to get it wrong with the offensive line draft picks that they've been making. I mean, Hernandez has been okay, but Eric Flowers was one of the biggest busts. So they gotta get it together. Hopefully, with the second round pick, we'll see how they do with that one. But again, after that one, I'm not even sure. I don't know what the Giants are going to do with the rest of the draft picks.
How do you feel about Baker, the corner?
They struggled last year, but it's understandable. Young corners, it's a difficult transition to the pro game, where every game you're going up against, great wide receiver combinations. He struggled a little bit last year, but I think he's going to be all right. He played in a lot of big games at Georgia, and that's why I even posed a question to Tripp that would he be intrigued by taking Okudah and bringing another young corner in and kind of developing a young secondary with Okudah, Baker, and Peppers.
On the side,
Baker's
yeah.
gonna be all right. Yeah, he's going to be all right. I think he's going to get better. Again, it's just a tough transition to play the cornerback position. Even against the weaker receivers, you're still facing really good receivers.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just rough, man. I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say with the Giants no more on this one. It's just ridiculous. But let's get on to the next free agent quarterback. that's available. Mister, I can throw for 5,000 yards and 30 picks in the season.
30 for 30. 30 for
30
30, baby.
30 for 30, Jameis Winston. He is available. I don't know if he'll be starting this season. I definitely take him as a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
But where that I'm not sure. Again, I don't think it's going to be a situation where he'll be starting this season unless someone gets injured. But there's still a couple of teams that could definitely use a good backup. He's definitely good enough to be a backup. But what do you guys think about Jameis?
I was thinking definitely a backup. I don't know what team. It's kind of hard to figure out what team to put him on. I mean, Pittsburgh was the first team of mine, but what do you guys think? Pittsburgh?
Yeah, as a backup, maybe Pittsburgh again.
Yeah.
Just because again, you ain't gotta do too much, but sit back and if Roethlisberger gets hurt, you step in, and it'll definitely be an upgrade from Mason Rudolph and the other guys they got there at the quarterback position that came in last season and was backing up Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is an option. I like it as well. I do think he should take the year to just be a backup, kind of boost his stock back up a little bit. Pittsburgh, Seattle possibly as a backup. Um, those are some of the first teams that jump out to me. I mean, New England might be in play if New England decides that Cam isn't their guy. Maybe they say, look, again, I don't doubt anything Bill does. So if Bill were to say, hey, I think I can repair this guy and make him a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, I would actually believe it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna have options, but I think he also is not. Listen, there's nothing wrong with taking a backup role for a year, even 2 years, and get yourself right. You throw that many interceptions, and he took a little beating. Like I said, that O-line was kind of bad. You take that type of punishment, you have that type of season, it could wear on your confidence. But let's not make a mistake about it either. Jameis still has a lot of talent. Like you said, 5,000 yards, 30 touchdowns. He had a lot of bad picks, but the dude can throw the ball. And we're not talking about a guy who's an absolute bust. We're talking about a guy who just needs a little bit of rework. I think, he can still be a very good quarterback in the league.
Slow down, with those turnovers. I mean, shoot,
Right.
he's at 30. If you can bring the 30 down to 22, you know what I'm saying, and then try to get down a little bit lower than the next year after that, I'll be okay with that.
Right.
Because he's definitely listen. I mean, he threw for 5,000 yards. That ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? To laugh about. That's actually really good because not too many cats threw for 5,000 yards this season. His problem was just with the turnovers, and again, like you mentioned, the offensive line, really wasn't, all that good this past season. So, I want to see him get another shot. I'm always for the brothers, being able to stick around and continue to play this in this game. But again, it's going to be round and round where he goes. Who knows where he's going to end up at this point. I think the Jaguars got their pick, and they taking the second best cornerback in the draft, C.J. Henderson.
That's a reach.
Yeah.
With that, well, yeah, you know what? I mean, we knew they weren't going to.
People actually had him as the best corner, some people thought he was the best corner in this draft. Some of the draft experts.
I mean, he is really good now. Okuda was definitely the best in this this draft. But they got to get back. They gave up Jalen Ramsey, so I guess they want to start rebuilding that secondary. So they take the best cornerback available in the draft.
I wonder. I wonder. So I got a couple questions about this one with the Jaguars. First, and now that they're flashing, obviously where he's from, but he played at the University of Florida. So I wonder if this was more about them falling in love with the local kid,
the hometown kid.
He's from Miami. Yeah, hometown kid. They probably had a lot of in-person looks at him while he was at the University of Florida and kind of fell in love with him. But there were some people, as you mentioned, that some people had him, if not right there neck and neck with Okuda. They thought he was just a notch below. He is a good corner. But the reason to me I think this is a reach is if you look at the way they've gutted their team recently, they need O-line help and they definitely need weapons for Gardner Minshew because they just cut Marquise Lee. They're talking about trading Leonard Fournette.
Mhm.
They have really nothing on offense. I would again, I don't want to sound like a guy that's only talking about the receivers, but if you were going to reach on a playmaker for your young quarterback, as opposed to a cornerback who may be a year or two away from being really good. This kid isn't Jalen Ramsey, if that's what people were thinking. If people were thinking, oh, they traded Jalen, so now they take him. This kid is not Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, if they were picking Okuda, then it'd be all right.
Yeah, it'd be a
Just
different
because I
case.
think he's ready right now
Right.
to play, but it's not that. I hope it works out. I mean, maybe it's just a situation where they're gonna build up their defense this year, and then maybe next year focus on the offense. Again, you mentioned they did lose Marcus Lee, who actually just signed with the Patriots.
Yeah.
I think a 4-year deal he signed with the Patriots, so he's going to be in New England. But yeah,
Right.
I'm not sure. I guess in this situation, I probably would have gone offensive line help, just because. I mean, you got Gardner there, who I think is pretty good, but you got to protect your quarterback, and
Yeah.
then you gotta have somebody for him to throw to, and you had all of the top 3 wide receivers still on the board that you could have taken with that pick. But maybe one of those guys will go to the Jets now. One of those top 3 wide receivers will go to the Jets now that they're still on the board, and the
Well,
Jets pick is coming up soon.
What you would have taken
the
here
old
for the
lineman.
Jaguars? You would have taken a wide receiver for the Jags?
I would have gone O-line first, and then I probably would have gone receiver second. I think O-line is probably their biggest area of need. Um, like I said, I mentioned the wide receiver position just because of how depleted they are with weapons. Marquise Lee gone, Leonard Fournette gone, Allen Robinson they let go a few years ago that went to the Bears. So they're really down to like scraps. DJ Chark was a guy they drafted in the first round a couple years ago, but he hasn't really panned out yet for them. So Minshew ain't really got much to work with on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I think they'll probably wind up going with the wide receiver with this second round pick. But again, we gotta wait and see. Oh, shout out to the Browns. The Browns got my guy Willis out of Alabama, so they're definitely trying to shore up that line for Baker, and they need to. They brought over a couple of linemen. Again, we spoke about them bringing over Austin Hooper. So hopefully they can get this thing worked out, because we were talking about them going into last season as being a playoff team, and it just didn't work out. They've been talking about this Odell Beckham Jr. trade that may or may not happen, but either way, if he does stay, at least you got protection now for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, the Browns seem to be doing things the right way right now. Getting the old lineman is a great pick for them. Getting Austin Hooper, as you mentioned, to go with Njoku as the other tight end. Now they have a good 2 tight end set. Whether they keep Odell or not, I think they're moving in the right direction. We see Nick Chubb is a really good running back. You add this old lineman, I think they're recreating themselves a little bit. Last year they were more about flash. This year they're more about substance.
Yeah. So we hopefully they can get it together and get the mental. I think more so that's what it was than anything. It's just they got to get in a good headspace, get everybody on the same page, and I think they'll be able to do some good things, because they got so many great pieces together. I mean, then you get look on the defensive side of the football with Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, who's a really good young cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
They got so many good pieces.
Yeah.
I think the Jets are going to go offensive lineman. Yeah, they're not taking a receiver.
Like I said, I like this pick for the Browns. This is a really good pick for the Browns. Quality pick. Again, substance. You add a right tackle to shore things up. Their O-line was the weakest part of their offense last year. I know Baker struggled. He threw a lot of bad picks, but a lot of that had to do with the fact that he just had no protection. They couldn't get the ball down the field to Odell Beckham because they just couldn't pass protect for him. So now you, like I said, bringing in the new tight end, bringing the old tackle, they seem to be moving in the right direction. Stefanski, who's the new head coach now, was the offensive coordinator with the Vikings last year, and he's a guy that's really built around running the ball to create the play action pass.
Yes.
We saw how it worked with the Vikings last year. Delvin Cook had a really good year last year, so expect what Delvin Cook was doing to translate to what Nick Chubb is going to do this year.
Yeah, yeah, I believe so. I think they should be all right. I mean, you still got to deal with the Ravens in that division. The Steelers are still there. The Steelers, we saw them come on late last year. They brought in Minka Fitzpatrick, who was amazing for them the second half of the season. And they get Ben Roethlisberger back. I know he's another year older, but he's still that veteran, quarterback that can still do a lot. And he usually puts up great numbers when he's healthy and when he's on the field. So it's gonna be a rough one, especially since I think it's still the Ravens division. The Ravens got even better adding Calais Campbell to that defensive line. I'm looking forward to seeing who they draft later on in this draft. I think they're gonna go defense again, either take a linebacker or a pass rusher. So I'm interested in seeing that, but they're still gonna be the team to beat in that division. But it can get really competitive with all of those additions.
Is Kareem Hunt still on the roster as well in Cleveland?
Yeah, they picked him up
Yes.
for the next year, so he's still on the roster.
Oh, damn. They still got all that talent over there.
Yeah, having Kareem Hunt on the roster is actually like big for Cleveland because not that he got to play too many snaps, but when he was in the game this past season, he actually did really well for the Browns, showing that he's definitely still got it. That the talent that he was displacing when he was in Kansas City and balling out the year before everything went down with the whole fight situation in the hotel. So that's actually going to be a really good thing because you got the 1-2 punch, and Kareem Hunt is a receiving back as well. So that'll definitely be a nice boost to Baker. I think they're going to get him a little bit more involved in the offense as well moving forward.
They'll implement him a little bit more. Last year was tough because I don't even think he got to work out with the team for the first half of the season.
Yeah,
just because of the suspension.
exactly.
So he'll get an opportunity now, a full year with the squad, with the new offense. And again, Stefanski likes to run the ball, and he wants to run the ball, and he's going to look to run the ball 25 to 30 times a game just to set up the play action. So he'll get his opportunities, and he'll get his opportunities in the passing game as well.
Yeah. Now, question, guys. I know it's looking like the Jets are going to take offensive linemen. So then probably not going to
with this pick here.
Yeah, so they're probably not going to get one of those top receivers in this draft. However, there is a top receiver, a former top receiver who's trying to make his way back into the league, Percy Harvin. Should the Jets go after Percy Harvin if he comes back? And does Percy
Nobody
Harvin
should
have
go after
anything
Percy
left
Harvin.
in the tank?
He's done, man. Concussion.
Listen, you can't be out the league 3 years and then think, all right, I'm ready. Like, nah, the game done passed you by at this point, man.
Yeah, I believe so as well. But listen, if you want to try, come back. Maybe, who knows? Maybe he might be. The exception to the rule. Who knows? But we'll see.
Nah, he won't. He won't.
Yeah, I don't think he will either. I'm just trying to have some hope for the brother.
His game. I mean, he was a quality receiver, but his game was built on speed. You can't tell me that 3 years away from football made you faster than what you were before. Like his game was built on speed.
Yeah, not at all. I'm looking at the.
You won't even sign him to a 1-year deal.
Not even
for the veterans minimum. I mean,
not
you
even.
know what? If he worked out and looked good, and I could get him for $5, then yeah.
I mean, not even like if you got to like, how bad would your receiving core have to be for you to consider signing Percy Harvin?
Special teams.
Yeah, I don't even know if they're gonna get on the special team practice squad.
That's what I'm saying. So the Browns probably bailed out the Jets by taking Wills. There's only one other top-rated O-lineman here.
So they're probably going to
Joe
take
Douglas is Joe Douglas is hugging his family. He probably taking Tristan Wirfs here.
Yeah. See, what's up with the New York teams, man? Oh, wait, they're showing Henry Ruggs right now. So maybe they might be taking.
Let's see what they're taking. Hold on. Yeah, the pick is in. Let's see. I hope they take a receiver, man.
Did they take Henry Ruggs? Are they taking him? I don't know. Listen, I'm not a Jets fan, but
I mean,
I'm an Alabama guy. I love seeing him come to New York.
listen, if they were to take Ruggs, I understand it. I would no, I can't even say I understand it because to take him above Judy or
Judy,
Lamb,
yeah, Lamb.
yeah, that would be like the ultimate confusion. Like, why are you taking Henry
Yeah, because he's not
Ruggs
the best.
with
And
the complimentary
he's
receiver?
the fastest. That's why I guess maybe because he's the fastest receiver in the draft. Maybe.
It's something that Oakland would do. Al Davis, the fastest one.
Right. That's an Al Davis move. Al Davis
Word.
he just want to draft guys that was on the track team. I don't care if you can catch. Can you run?
They go O-line and they take Mekhi Becton out of Louisville.
Oh, that would be a massive reach.
They took him. That's it. The pick is in.
Oh, no way.
His dad looked like he played offensive. His dad a big dude too. He might have played offensive line back in the day.
No way.
Yo, what's up with the New York teams, man?
That is disgusting.
What is up with the New York teams in this draft? ACC Jacobs Blocking Trophy winner.
From like back then?
Yeah. Oh,
That's
my
disgusting.
goodness.
He's not even the best offensive lineman left on the.
Yeah, bro.
I'm gonna have to call an ambulance. My man Troy about to have a heart attack.
He a Jets fan?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, this
We've
dude,
been
he
debating for
ball
about
too.
4.
Hold on. Play basketball too?
Him.
That's a big boy playing basketball though.
That's probably his sister, but it's his pops took up the whole love seat.
No.
Oh,
Yeah, but
man.
Kaibeck hit big dude. He like 6'7".
Jeez. Yeah, but they were showing his basketball highlights. That's a big boy.
Yeah, but that's a massive reach, bro.
Yeah.
So you basically took tractor trailer to play left tackle for you.
Yeah, basically.
You just drafted Robert Trailer. Why are you showing his basketball highlights first?
Yeah.
That's the most concerning thing to me, right? I'm gonna be honest. That's the most concerning thing to me. I draft you 11th and I start showing your basketball highlights? Nah, son.
His best players came on the basketball court.
Nah.
Probably trying to find how versatile he is.
Wrong draft.
Yeah. Damn it, man.
Wrong draft.
He was in Louisville, so he was a freshman when Lamar Jackson got drafted. Well, he's gonna be another one where it's, hope it works out. Yeah, damn.
I don't get the pick. I don't get the pick at all. It makes no sense. Especially when, again, Wills was the best offensive lineman. He's off the board. So you have every reason to say, all right, since the best offensive lineman is off the board, let me go another direction
and get a receiver.
And they just showed you Mel Kiper's best 5 available.
Yeah,
Mekhi Becton wasn't on that
list.
He
wasn't even on the list. Look, now they're showing him pushing the truck right there.
Oh my God.
I'll tell you what, though. Listen, okay, I'm completely.
These are not the things I want to see, bro.
Disgusted by the pick, but I will say this: the Jets actually did something right. At least the owners. Shout out to Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets, and his family. They donated $2 million to COVID-19 relief. So at least they got one thing right. I don't know about that draft pick, but they're helping out. And again, definitely wanna just send positive vibes to everybody that's been affected by this coronavirus. Hopefully, we can get this thing contained soon and get things back to normal. That's why we're watching the virtual draft right now because of the coronavirus. So, but again, shout out to the Johnson family.
Hats off to them. I love the fact that for Mekhi Becton, they continue to highlight that his mom was a caterer. That would really make me feel comfortable being a starting left tackle.
I know the Raiders are happy because they're gonna take Jerry Jeudy. I know they gotta take Jerry Jeudy.
They're gonna go with one of the Alabama receivers. Mike Mayock they're about to start strutting around the room. They so happy.
Yeah, look at them.
They or Ruggs.
We didn't even get that much time on the clock. We're ready. We good.
The pick's already in. Yes. We already know what we take. Let's move on.
Now they just dragging this thing out now. Look at them. They hyped up.
I think this is one of the Alabama receivers. This is either Jeudy or Ruggs.
It's gotta be. And if they do take anyone, if they take CeeDee Lamb, they are going to they got a great young stud playing running back with Josh Jacobs. Now you get to bring the top wide receiver. Derek Carr, he's feasible. He's still young. And he was playing really before the injuries. He was playing really well. But if anything, if they want to draft a quarterback later, they still have that option too. But they got to go wide receiver here, and I'm thinking it's going to be Jerry Jeudy, best wide receiver in this class.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of the guys from Alabama. And as you mentioned, I think Carr is going to – we know he's going to be the quarterback at least one more season. So at number 19, they could be in play for Jordan Love. But I think this is definitely the wide receiver to go with Jacobs, who they drafted in the first round last year.
I just want to say I'm looking at all these people in each one of these pictures, and no one's social distancing. It's supposed to be 6 feet in the house while y'all waiting on the draft choices. Oh man, but yeah, they got man. I'm so happy for Alabama. They got a lot of guys that's gonna go in this first round. We already saw Willis go. They got 2 wide receivers that's gonna go.
They got Ruggs, fast, speed, Al Davis.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I know the 49ers. They were talking a lot about the 49ers drafting Henry Ruggs, but he's going out. They got the fastest wide receiver. And I mean, we're also talking about a guy in Ruggs, that had a pretty good collegiate career. He's
a good receiver. He's not just a speed demon though. He can catch the ball. For the Raiders, I'm not as high on this pick. If he was going to the Niners, I would probably been higher on it.
Yeah.
Just because they already got Debo and they got George Kittle. Whereas
I was surprised that they took that Ruggs one first, though.
Yeah. If you're expecting Ruggs to be if you're expecting him to be your number one receiver, that's a little shaky because he's more the speed demon.
He got hops though. Those are some basketball highlights I don't mind seeing because he can get up there.
They started by showing his football highlights. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, he got highlights. That's why he could do that when you got highlights.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
They got to show you pushing the truck and playing basketball if you don't got no highlights. Henry Ruggs definitely got a lot of highlights.
It's still a solid pick though. We knew they were gonna go receiver here, which they did. It's a little. I thought it would be one of the Alabama, specifically Jeudy.
Yeah. Listen,
now
we
haven't seen a trade yet. The Niners might be primed for a trade because I don't think they have any second or third round picks.
Well, they want a wide receiver though, so I don't know if they're going to trade. I think they may take a receiver just because losing Emmanuel Sanders, they got to refill that spot. And now I think, either way, you take Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb, that's going to be big for the 49ers.
They could have still got Ruggs, like even if the first the other 2 had got drafted within the top 10. But now you have to get either one of the 3 and you still go with the third best one. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb didn't go first. I thought that Ruggs would have probably been the third
one, yeah.
Receiver picked out of those guys.
Yeah, I think they fell in love with his speed, and you also got to remember they get a firsthand look at Tyreek Hill every year, so they see the type of impact that game-breaking speed can have. But I agree. I thought Jeudy or CD would have been a better pick here because both those guys are true number 1 receivers. But I think Ruggs is more of a number 2.
Yeah.
But either way, it's still a solid, valuable pick for them. And like I said, they could attack. They got the 19th pick, so they could do other things with the 19th pick, whether it's draft a cornerback, because there's a couple guys at corner, or if they're gonna go with Jordan Love.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm happy. It's my Alabama guy, so I'm happy for him. I believe the 49ers do go wide receiver, and the Bucs will go tackle, and then the Broncos will pick up whichever one of those wide receivers is left out of CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy. So I think it's gonna go like that. I think it's gonna go.
No, I'm listening. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's gonna go wide receiver, lineman, wide receiver, the next 3 picks.
Yeah, this might be, and you just said something that's really really interesting there, Trip, because we know San Fran's probably going receiver. Tampa definitely isn't going receiver. So Denver might be the biggest beneficiary of all this because they're going to end up with either CD Lamb or Judy at
Mm-hmm.
15, and that's the perfect compliment for Drew Lock.
Yes, he
Perfect
needs that
compliment to
big
get
play
him a
receiver.
Yep. And remember, they drafted the tight end from Iowa last year, Noah Fant.
Yeah.
They got Melvin Gordon. They got Melvin Gordon in the backfield. Now they immediately within a year they would have rebuilt the offense part of that organization, and that defense is still very good. Von Miller. They got Jarrell Casey from the Titans. They got a good team there, man. They land one of
Yeah.
these receivers. They got a really good team there.
Yeah, and they still got a pretty decent defense. So I think
Yeah.
this is definitely gonna be big. You gotta have those threats out there for your quarterback. That was one of the things. And that's when you came on the show. We spoke about it as in regards to the Bills, and they've done a good job of addressing that, bringing on Stephon Diggs. I know they still want to bring another guy or two in, but especially when you have a young quarterback, you have to give him guys that can catch the football and bail him out. It's a lot of pressure, especially as a rookie being behind center. So you definitely need some guys that you can trust and dump it off to. And I think that they getting either one of those guys, Judy or CD Lamb, would be perfect.
Got Cortland Sutton too. Sutton's
Yes.
on their side too. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I like it. Elway has told you.
Did they make a trade? Because they got Tampa up there 13 and 14.
Yeah, that's what I told you. The
one slot.
So now they got the 13th and the 14th pick?
Yeah, we got to see what the details are, but there's a trade there.
Okay.
I told you, I figured San Fran might be a trade candidate because they had no second or third round picks.
Yeah.
And because we talked about the depth of wide receiver in this draft, they could still address that other wide receiver pick with a second rounder. So let's see what they get from Tampa Bay. But Tampa Bay is on the clock back to back.
So now who do they do? They go O-line with one of these picks. But do they take a wide receiver too? Do they go O-line and then take one of those two wide receivers?
Let me find out. Find out. Bruce Arians is like, yo, you know what? Let's see what happens if we could put Judy next to Evans. What happens if we put Judy, Evans, and Godwin together?
Yes, yo. Oh my goodness, that could be crazy. Oh my goodness, that would be crazy just because he's one of the best route runners. So you could put him right in
Judy's the
slot.
most. He's the most ready guy. I threw out the comparison earlier. He reminds me a lot of Reggie Wayne when Reggie Wayne was at Miami. For people that don't know, Reggie Wayne was an absolute monster at Miami, and he had a Hall of Fame career with the Colts. Guys like that are elite route runners with great hands. You don't get those guys all the time in the league. So if you can draft that guy, if you're Tampa Bay, you can get that guy. If that's the guy you're targeting, I should say. I mean,
no, listen.
With the weapons they already have.
I think if now that you got those two picks, Tampa, you gotta get one of those guys.
They got San Fran now at 14, so they look like they just swapped. I'm interested to see who. Yeah, I'm interested to see then who Tampa's taking because I don't think San Fran was taking a no lineman. So to move up just to one spot, I would assume this got to be for CD or Judy. It's got to be because
you wouldn't move up to take a lineman because they weren't going to take a lineman.
Yeah, Niners were not going to take a lineman with that pick.
So okay, so we got to see this.
This got to be for one of the receivers, bro. It's got to be.
Yeah,
if you're San Fran, that's smart because you're still left with one of the receivers. If that's the route you want to take, you can still take the receiver that's left.
Because most of the reports that I read was that San Fran wanted Ruggs so they could have that speedy receiver. So I guess since they didn't get him, it was like, all right, well we could go back a spot. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. So now I'm really intrigued to see who the Bucks go with. But if they draft Judy with this spot here, oh my goodness, that offense is Tom Brady is a fortunate man. How you gonna be the GOAT and in
Well,
your
I will.
43 years?
I will say this, but and let's see how this plays out, because if they draft Judy or CD Lamb, we haven't seen the details of the trade with the Niners. It's possible that Godwin could be involved in the trade going to San Fran to move up.
Yeah, but why would you give you could have still got one of the other two receivers? So I don't even.
But I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they. It would have depended on what the offer was, what the draft capital was going to take. Remember, to move up to one spot, you're still giving up something. So it wasn't just an even
Yeah,
swap. You still got to give up more.
another
So it's
pick.
possible,
Okay, so they
right?
taking
So
the offensive tackle. They take Tristan Wirfs, which I don't understand, because then why would you make that trade? Because San Fran was not taking a wide receiver.
I
Yeah.
mean, no. San Fran wasn't taking old linemen. I don't
I
think
mean,
they
excuse
were.
me, yeah, San Fran
Yeah,
was
I
taking
don't
a
get that.
lineman, so I'm confused by that trade. What did you just give up to move up that one spot to take somebody that San Fran wasn't going to take anyway? Okay, yeah, that was I didn't
This is.
understand that.
I want to see what the rest of this trade entails,
Yeah,
but it makes absolutely no sense. And this is very similar to the trade that the Niners had made with the Bears a few years ago when the Bears took Mitch Trubisky, where they
Yeah.
moved up one spot. They
No,
moved up one
yeah,
spot to take a guy that the Niners weren't going to take anyway.
yeah. That's
I
what I'm saying.
mean,
Like I don't understand.
from a value standpoint, it's great value. This guy, I think, was rated the number 2 offensive lineman in the whole draft. So to get him at 13 is still good. But to trade up, I don't know what they were giving up to trade up one spot, because I don't think the Niners were taking him at all.
That's what I'm saying. It didn't make sense because they were not drafting an offensive lineman. So you didn't have to. So whatever
Yeah.
you gave up, you wasted.
Un-
Unless they got
the,
another pick for it.
the only other thing I can think of is there was another team that was going to trade with the Niners. Because like I said, I think the Niners were prime candidates to trade. There must have been another team that was going to trade with the 49ers, and Tampa got spooked and they traded with them instead. That's the only other thing I can think of.
Yeah.
There had to be another team that was in the works that was going to trade up with the Niners to take them, and Tampa got spooked, and then they probably said, all right, fine, whatever you want, let's just get them.
Well, I hope it wasn't a receiver they just traded for that
Nah.
pick.
I'm sure if they had traded Godwin in this move, they would have selected a receiver.
Yeah.
This is a matter of just picks. So they probably swapped this year, and they probably threw in like a second and a fourth, maybe a future pick.
Yeah, I gotta see the details on this trade. It happened so fast, it's not even like up just yet.
And if you're San Fran, I mean, this is the way you work the draft. You picked up more assets, and you're still going to get the guy you wanted.
Yeah,
John Lynch
definitely.
John Lynch has done very well in the drafts. Last year they got Bosa and Debo Samuel. This year it looks like they're going to add another weapon. They've done well with their drafts.
Yeah. So all right. So now, do the 49ers go Judy or CeeDee Lamb?
I think they go Judy.
Think they go Judy?
I think they go Judy. You get a precision route runner like that. A guy, like I said, who steps in right away, becomes the number 1 receiver, and it allows Debo to still have that freelance ability, because they love to use Debo on reverses and screens and all that type of stuff. You take Judy.
Okay, no, because
didn't they say Judy had some knee problems? What was wrong? What was up with that?
I haven't heard any
I
injury
didn't hear
issues
about
with Judy.
Knee problems or whatever.
Judy, from everybody that I've heard it from or read about, they say this guy is to say he's the real deal is an understatement. His route running is so precise. I've heard Michael Irvin brag about his route running. I've heard a lot of different guys that played the game at a high level say, "Yo, this dude, his route running is second to none."
Yeah,
he was already an NFL caliber route runner while at Alabama. So getting him in a pro style system now again, and he's gonna continue to elevate.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is actually going to be a great spot for him because when you one of the top players in the draft, you don't get to go to a team as good as the San Francisco 49ers coming off of Super Bowl appearance. So him going there now, shoot, now that they done raise the stock up. So now they go back to being the hands down favorite to win the NFC.
Absolutely.
If they get one of those guys in there. Especially a guy like
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy can carry you on the offensive end. They got that receiver they needed.
You add
And
either
he's
one
going
of
to be
those
there for a
guys,
while.
right? You add either one of those guys, and like I said, they already have an all-pro tight end in Kittle. They already have a really good receiver in Debo. They got the running game. I mean, what do you focus on if you're playing them? What are you trying to take away from them? If you add Judy to that mix, what becomes their weakness now on offense?
Yeah. So we might, we'll they're gonna be tough to beat, man. Now that Garoppolo got that kind of security blanket out there, guy that can come in, and he's pretty fast too. He's not Henry Ruggs fast, but Judy is pretty fast. And just because he's such a great route runner, who was Derek Mason when he was with the Ravens. He was one of the top route runners in football, and you can become so much more effective being able to be where your quarterback needs you to be, especially for a guy like Garoppolo, who's not the best thrower. So if you have a guy that's he's going to be where you need him to be, that'll be a huge plus for Garoppolo this season. And we got to let you guys know we're gonna rock out till about 10 o'clock. So we got about 4 minutes left. Maybe we might come back and do the second round. So we'll see how the weekend goes. Let's
hope that we see like these next two picks, and that way we'll get to like about the halfway point of the draft.
Yeah.
And then we'll continue to update the people from there, fellas. It was very enjoyable, man. We had some good laughs as we talked about some of these picks. Trip, yeah. I apologize. You know what? Actually, no, I don't apologize to you, Trip, because you have laughed at me. We have been on air together during New York Knicks selections on draft night, and you've had a great laugh. You found it very amusing the night that we took Kevin Knox over Michael Porter Jr. So I don't feel bad for you tonight, Trip. I was so throw it out there. I don't feel bad for you.
But I will say this. I do think that Thomas will pan out better than Kevin Knox panned out for the Knicks right now.
Listen, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but you and I both know that Kevin Knox is doing pretty well for himself in New York City right now.
Yeah. Well, that's a different sport, though. That's the whole.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
Were you one of the persons that booed when Porzingis got picked?
I didn't boo, but I wasn't a fan of the pick. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't a fan of it. I didn't boo just because I understood that obviously the game is different. Like that have the old stigma of like, oh, don't take the European guy. No, but I did think it was a reach for us at that time. I thought there were guys that were a little better, that I liked a little bit more. I wasn't completely wrong because Porzingis still hasn't lived up to the hype.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He hasn't lived up to it. He's been injured probably 35% of his career. So
yeah. So they got a nice little connection going with him and Luka, down in Dallas.
Yeah.
But
Luka got something going on there.
Yeah, and I think there'll be a nice little 1-2 punch for a couple of years to come. But all right, we got the 49ers. I want to see who these guys take already.
Let's see.
Might as well go Judy, man. I want to see my guy go to a good team. So hopefully they do the right thing and pick Jerry Judy. Coming up right now with my main man, Roger Goodell. Where you at, bro? Let's see what you got. It's so crazy, man.
Jefferson could be a sneaky pick right here as well.
I can't see them picking him over Judy and CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
I wouldn't agree with the pick, but Justin Jefferson is another one of those explosive. What did they get?
What? They picked.
So they gave up a fourth this year. They gave up a fourth to move up one spot.
Wow, they took Javon Campbell. Oh my goodness, they didn't take a receiver.
Damn,
so they took.
Wow.
So they're taking Ken Law. That's to replace DeForest Buckner, who they traded to the Colts originally for the 13th pick, which they actually flipped.
Wow. Yeah, Man, I'm a little shocked they don't go
So
receiver here because their
now,
D line is still ridiculous.
I know Denver definitely got to take a wide receiver.
Oh yeah,
so I
Denver's
think,
definitely
yeah,
taking a wide receiver.
this is to, like I said, this is to fill the void of trading Buckner to the Colts. Um, I don't understand then what the point of Tampa Bay trading up one spot was.
Yeah,
I really
that's what
don't
I'm
get it.
saying.
And the trade makes absolutely no sense to me unless we get some other details.
I'm confused by that. I'm confused by this cat swag right now. He gonna have to step his dressing game up when he gets to the league, get a little bit of money in his pocket because I don't know what's going on right now with the outfit.
Yeah,
But that's neither here nor there.
yeah.
Oh
I
my
mean,
goodness.
like I said, for the standpoint of, unless, listen, the Niners may have a guy already on their roster that maybe we're not really aware of that they feel is ready to step up. Again, George Kittle is their number one option. Debo is their number two option. They like to run the ball. Maybe they felt at 14 it wasn't the value to take a receiver.
Yeah.
They didn't add a second round pick though, so I can't even say that they were looking to they may be able to get a receiver in the second round because they don't have a second round pick. So there's got to be a guy either in their system now or somebody that's on the free agent market that they really like that's going to step in for them.
And I will say this, because I don't want to, I'm just that I thought 49ers would take a receiver here. I don't want to take away from Kinlaw because he's actually really good. He's the second best defensive tackle behind Derek Brown in this draft. So I don't want to take anything away from him. I just thought that the 49ers defense is so elite right now. What I think they need more is weapons to help Garoppolo because he's – you can either have the really great quarterback with, that can make up for lower level talent at receivers, or you got to have the really great receivers to make up for the little lower level talent that you got at quarterback. So I'm interested to see what they do moving forward because when they come back up, I don't think those top explosive wide receivers are going to be available.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it earlier with the Washington pick loading up their front line after they got Chase Young. The Niners, this has been their model for a few years. Eric Armstead was a high draft pick. DeForest Buckner, Bosa. They already invested in D Ford and they invested another first round pick in D line. Here, I guess they feel like they just want to maintain that dominance up front.
Yeah.
But I do agree. I think especially to trade down one spot. I could understand if they had traded down a few more spots and then say, all right, we're going to take Kinlaw, but to move down one spot, you didn't really pick up much to move down one spot. You picked up a fourth round pick, so you could have still taken Kinlaw at 13. The trade almost seems pointless, really.
Yeah, and the 49ers do have the 31st pick in the draft, but I don't think any of those top guys are going to be there because there's a couple of teams that are going to take wide receivers before they get back to 31.
We can't even say that because after the Broncos, Atlanta's probably not taking a receiver.
No, but the Eagles are going to take a receiver.
The Eagles are, but I'm saying when you look at the next couple of teams that's coming up, now I will say this: if CeeDee Lamb is still on the board when Dallas picks at 17, that could be interesting because we know how much Jerry loves them Oklahoma players.
Yeah. So he might wind up going to Dallas. I'll be okay with that because I don't want to see Jerry Jeudy go to Dallas. So I hope Denver takes him at this point.
You think that if these wide receivers drop, someone's going to, in the back end, is going to trade up, try to get these guys, someone like in the 20s, 22, 23?
Yeah, definitely. Depending on,
I think,
how far you got to go.
Yeah, we're 15 picks in. Well, we're about to get the 15th pick. We've only seen one trade. So it's possible that if these receivers keep dropping, we may start seeing teams on the back end trade up, which is a scary thought because, we could see teams that are already playoff caliber teams adding a guy like Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah. Listen, I wouldn't mind Ravens trading up to get Jeudy at this point. Let Jeudy get down to the 20th pick.
What
I
do you
wouldn't
think
mind
about,
seeing the
I mean,
Ravens
what if
go up.
what do you think about
what
Julio
if
guys going to Atlanta? Because Julio Jones.
well they invested in Ridley recently as well.
Right.
Yeah, they
So I
got
don't know if
Calvin
they would.
Ridley,
Yeah, I think
but they do like Alabama
Atlanta may
wide
be interested.
receiver. So who knows?
No, they do, but I don't think they would. I don't think they would invest a first round pick. I think Atlanta would be interested in the outside linebacker from LSU, the kid Chase on.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that might be their guy because they got
Well,
to remember they let go of Vic Beasley, so they got to
yes,
replace some outside pass rush.
yes.
Um,
And Judy's
but
officially
I'm
going
gonna tell you
to
what's
Broncos.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you what is a scary thought though. And Judy's off the board now. The the Vikings may be able to replace Stephon Diggs with one of these young receivers
Yeah.
because now remember they got that Buffalo pick. They could now possibly take Justin Jefferson to replace Stephon Diggs and still put the same firepower that they had out there before, only cheaper
Well,
now.
if the Eagles don't take him first,
Well, either way, I mean, the fact that I don't think Atlanta's taking a receiver. I don't think Dallas is taking a receiver. So CD might still
unless CeeDee Lamb is available.
right now. CD is going to be there, but CD possibly could be there at 18, which means that Jefferson, Jalen Rager, all those guys are going to start going into the 20s now. But this is a great landing spot for Judy, man. As we talked about before, Drew Lock looks like he's a young up and coming quarterback. They got a good running game. They got a good defense there. They already drafted Noah Fant last year. Cortland Sutton on the other side. This is a really good landing spot for Judy.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a good 1-2 punch at that wide receiver position for them. Now, I don't know if they're going to – this puts them back into playoff contention, but moving forward, they got a lot to build around.
I think I wouldn't put them in playoff contention, but I would definitely say the future is really bright for them because now you got your quarterback, your wide receiver, both on cheap deals, and you can continue to stockpile on other areas of the team. That's two less things you got to worry about now. You ain't got to worry
Yeah,
about your number one receiver for the next 5 years. You ain't got to worry about your quarterback for the next 5 years. Now you could just load up, and Von Miller's still one of the best pass rushers in the game.
yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah.
This is a big pickup for them.
And
I believe
they got
Atlanta's definitely going to go
right?
defense.
They got a tight end, a good tight end too.
That's what I'm saying. They got Noah Fant last year, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
they've been able to address some really good areas on their team through the draft without having to give up much capital. Like, to think of Judy here going 15th, right? Already sounds crazy because we thought he would have been off the board by 11, maybe 12 at the most.
Yeah,
When Atlanta went to get Julio Jones, they had to trade up and they gave up a bunch of draft capital to trade up to number 6 to get Julio Jones. So
Yeah.
to think that you can get Judy at 16, at 15,
yeah.
that's a great steal in a draft.
Now, if you're Miami, do you trade? You try to get a sneaker trade in with Atlanta to go after CeeDee Lamb, so you can have a wide receiver to go with Tua. It's only
I wouldn't.
2 spots up, so it's not going to be as
I-
much.
Yeah, and Miami got a lot of draft capital too. They're not gonna use all 14 picks. So, what do you think? You wouldn't do it?
If I'm Miami, I wouldn't trade up for CeeDee Lamb. I would stay pat. I think Miami just has too many holes to fill. If they had a little better roster, and maybe CD was the only thing they were missing, yeah. But who's their cornerbacks? Who's their linebackers?
Well, they
Like
don't have. I
they got
mean,
so many holes.
I'm
Right, they
seeing a
got so
lot
many
where they
holes to
where they,
fill.
where they go. A lot of mock drafts where they go safety and take Xavier McKinney out of Alabama. I've been seeing that a lot. So, I
I agree.
I mean,
McKinley fits a need. He's obviously top-notch talent. He's
and
a
more than
guy
likely you don't
who,
have to move to go get him.
right, you don't have to move to go get him. He's a guy who could fill in for another former Alabama safety they had in Minka Fitzpatrick. And so if I'm the Dolphins, I stay pat and I take best available.
Yeah,
Again, we're talking about a draft that's so deep with receivers. They can get a receiver with that next pick. They don't have to move up anything to get a receiver right now. You still take best available.
yeah. Listen, there's a lot of guys that are still available.
Yeah.
A lot of
And
really
and
good guys too. So
and if this draft wasn't as deep as it is, Xavier McKinley would have been a top 10 pick.
Yes.
But this is how deep this draft is. Like I said, we're talking about CeeDee Lamb, who in most other drafts would have been a top 5 pick. He would have been the best receiver in the draft most other years.
Yeah.
This year, he's going to be the 3rd receiver taken.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're already 3 quarterbacks in. We're 2 receivers in. We see the D linemen going. There's a possibility that we don't even see a running back go in the 1st round. And there's some really good running backs in this draft.
Yeah, I believe so, because I think DeAndre Swift is definitely a 1st rounder. I don't think he gets picked in this 1st round just because the teams that are up have other needs that are more important for them to fill than running backs. You know, and I mean at this point, honestly, running backs are kind of starting to come a dime a dozen. And there's no Ezekiel Elliott's or Saquon Barkley's. I don't think there's any of those guys are on that level to say, well, you know what, we got to take this kid in the 1st round.
Do you think with the whole this whole quarantine thing and a lot of teams not able to work out a lot of the players, that it's gonna be a lot of talent in like the 4th and 5th round? That's later on we look years later, because remember a lot of these guys would have got worked out and it would have been high on draft boards. But seeing that a lot of teams weren't able to work them out, a lot of guys that's we're gonna see years later. That's gonna be a Pro Bowl or maybe Hall of Famers that are gonna come from this draft and he's like 4th, 5th, 6th round. You think so?
Yeah. Well, what happens is for some guys, not being able to work out with the teams helps them, and then you got some guys not being able to meet with teams and it hurts them, and it may drop their draft stock. So you may see, a couple of top guys that maybe should have been high 2nd round picks going late in the 3rd round or maybe early 4th round, just because you haven't been able to go out and actually see these guys. You got to go. I mean, you got a lot to go on thus far, but with a lot of guys, you need that extra. All right, you know what? Let me see how they move in front of me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to learn a lot about the scouting departments of a lot of teams because, as you mentioned, without the private workouts, if your scouts were doing their job throughout the college season, you would have been able to tell, hey, this guy's a true talent. This is where he should be drafted. I remember a few years ago when the Colts took Darius Leonard. Darius Leonard was a D2 guy who nobody knew anything about. I didn't know anything about him. And yet, when we drafted him, he immediately started at middle linebacker. He led the league in tackles his 1st year. He had another 100-plus tackle season this year. And that's due to the scouting, understanding that there's talent everywhere. So,
I mean, we know who the GOAT is and where he got drafted.
Right. So, you know what I'm saying? The teams with the really good scouting departments, they already on it. They know a guy is probably 2nd round talent, but he's going to drop to the 4th because 20 other teams didn't do their homework. You know what I'm saying? So, but you're right about it.
They go AJ Terrell, the Atlanta Falcons. So they definitely win defense.
Uh-oh. Miami.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they got him at the 5th best corner in the draft. AJ Terrell, but Atlanta needed they need help all throughout their defense. I mean, it's crazy because the offense is still good, but I don't know what happened last year.
This is a pick. I'm not too excited for them on because this was a pick that they're making based off of need as opposed to best available. McKinley is a better player at this point. There's another safety that's on the board as well that I think it's a little better. Again, you're talking about the 5th best rated cornerback. The cornerback, Gladney from TCU, I think is rated, a little higher than this guy as well. So there were some guys that were rated a little better, but again, he's a hometown kid. He's from Atlanta. They probably got more looks at him than they did some other kids. So therefore, they probably felt more comfortable with him.
I think that actually probably goes in with the scouting just because it's a little easier to scout him because he's right there, in Atlanta. So they probably been watching this kid for years. Before he even got to college, they probably was watching that kid.
This is Deion Grant from the New York Giants, Super Bowl champ, and you're watching Real Fans, Real Talk.